Welcome to the Been There Doing That podcast. I'm Robert Scrivener.
And I'm Gayla Scrivener.
We left the 9-to-5 grind, downsized, and our goal is to have freedom to live and to work from just about anywhere.
Thanks for joining us. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. A couple of weeks ago, when we were at Asheville, North Carolina, attending Overland Expo East, we were camping neighbors with James Henry. He was the volunteer camp host, and after getting to know him a bit, he had some great stories. He had been on the Transamerica Trail, and that's something we've been thinking about attempting. So, we thought we'd do an interview with him for this episode. We hope you enjoy. We are at Overland Expo East.
Yes, we are.
And so you'll hear things in the background.
You might hear people revving their engines and hooping and hollering and stuff.
Yep, but that's okay.
That's okay.
And we are here with James Henry. He's our camp host.
Camp host.
Hello, everybody.
And James, we wanted to interview you. We've had a great weekend and thought we'd put you on the show to tell us a little bit about you and some of your adventures.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
Well, tell us where you're from and what got you interested in overlanding.
Well, I guess a little bit about me. I was in the Army for 7 years, and I guess that's where the overlanding sort of started, because that's essentially what I was doing. I was a scout. We lived out of our vehicles weeks, months at a time. And you have to be self-sufficient. You learn radios, antenna theory, all that stuff. Land navigation. And I guess that's where it kind of really started.
You had a lot of fun doing it then.
Tons of fun.
But now you can do it outside of the Army.
Yep. So this past year,
And that's a lot funner, right?
Much funnerer.
Yeah.
This past year, May 2016, when I got out, and I had a perfect opportunity to just do the Transamerica Trail. I was getting paid.
Why did you want to do it?
So I bought a Land Rover. I bought a bone stock. Started modifying it. Slowly got into it, and I thought, well, hell, I was watching a lot of camel trophy videos.
Yeah. Watch several of them.
Yeah. And I said, well, hell, I got one. Well, I should do some. I started planning a trip probably about 3 months before I got out. Bought the maps, bought the tracks. The reason I bought them is because I wanted to support Sam.
Yeah,
and,
he does a fine job.
Yep, he did the work.
Everything.
I should pay him.
So who is that? Just for people like me that
for people who don't know, explain about Sam and where you could go to get his information.
Because I have never heard of the Transamerica Trail until recently, because Robert told me about it. So, and then you guys were just talking about it like you guys know each other forever. So,
well, it started as a dual sport bike track. This guy Sam, I'm not sure of his last name, can't remember.
Me neither.
But he sort of created it. I don't want to say invented it, because the trails were already there, but he sort of mapped it out. And started out in Tennessee, just started doing some backcountry trails, and he said, you know what, I'm going to see how far I could take this. And sure enough, it went all the way to coastal Oregon.
Where does it start?
I started in Andrews, North Carolina, I believe, right on the border of Tennessee.
And you're about to say it was perfect timing for you because...
Perfect timing because I was saving up, it's called terminal leave. And you're pretty much getting, it's vacation, essentially, but then you don't have to come back.
Now that's nice.
Yep.
Yeah, it's permanent vacation.
Yep. So for a while, I was just getting paid to not really work, just do what I wanted to do, and it was the Transamerica at that point in time.
Well, you earned it. My golly, you earned it. So you just saved up all your vacation till you were discharged, right?
Exactly.
Awesome.
And I built the Jeep just to sell real quick to fund this.
Fund the project to do this.
Yeah.
What all did you do to your vehicle preparation
So in preparation, so a little background. My wife's Swedish. She went back to Sweden for midsummer, and I thought that was a good time to just wrench on the truck because no one wants to watch that.
No.
So I put in front and rear air lockers, re-geared the truck for bigger tires, replaced all the necessary radiator hoses, whatnot, new radiator, added a CB, all that stuff.
Did you mention what vehicle you have?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
It's a 2002 Land Rover Discovery.
It's a nice vehicle.
Yeah.
It's right next to us. I like it.
We're looking at it right now as we do this.
Yeah. So got all the bells and whistles that I thought I might need. Awning because nobody likes to be in the hot sun.
No.
Refrigerator because no one likes soggy food in there.
And you
cooler.
did not roof tent top it. You went with the traditional tent.
Yeah, the reason behind that is I was at a crossroads. I could either put in lockers and gears,
which are a necessity.
Yeah, in my opinion, or I could buy a rooftop tent. And in my case, I went with the gears and just got a ground tent. Sports Authority was going out of business, and I thought
$30.
$30 can't beat that.
Can't beat it.
No. So that's what we did, and I don't regret it.
You and your wife set out in May of last year?
I got out in May. I worked on it for a few months. Without getting too into the weeds, did a bunch of drivetrain modifications, and we set out in August, mid to late August.
Usually it takes about a month, but you guys went a little slower.
We took our time. I don't like waking up early, and my wife likes cooking breakfast. So, and I figure, why rush it?
Yeah,
it defeats the purpose.
Yeah, so you guys did it in 2 months.
2 months.
Yep. Take your time is the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
What was the most boring part of it, you think?
Oh yeah. So there were quite a few boring parts.
Well, you're not in a city.
Yeah.
And not fighting rush hour traffic. How can it be boring?
I would say Oklahoma or parts of Tennessee were pretty boring. Not because they weren't awesome. They were. But after 8 hours of driving every day, especially in Oklahoma, it's just a straight road.
And for folks that don't know, 90+% of it is on dirt roads.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's the only way to get across it is 90% of this Transamerica Trail is on dirt roads.
Yep. Avoid pavement when you can. Obviously, you'll have to hit pavement at some point, but
cross it, drive on it to the next dirt road, and then go.
Exactly.
So Oklahoma, straight road, dirt.
Very straight.
Farmland.
Yeah, hours of just straight
was that
road.
in the
Panhandle of Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what would be your favorite part?
My favorite part would be one of two things. Either the passes in Colorado.
Which ones did you go on?
We did Cinnamon Pass, and the trail actually ran through Engineer Pass, which we didn't do.
Yeah.
Because we opted for Black Bear Pass.
Uh-huh. Infamous.
Yep. Fun. Amanda, my wife, not digging it too much.
Well, this was her maiden voyage on overlanding, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and
she was
you didn't
not a
break
camper.
her. You didn't break her in or anything.
No, I didn't. I probably should have, but I didn't.
Hop in. Guess where we're going today?
Yeah.
But you're still married. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and then I guess the second favorite part, which was my highlight, this is what I had circled on the map, so to speak, was Moab, because that's the
pinnacle
epicenter
of stuff. Yeah.
And we did a bunch of trails out there. I wanted to get Amanda to drive Fins and Things, which is a good beginner trail, I think.
Oh, yeah.
We just didn't have the time. We spent 3 days out there, but we had to get going.
Had to move on.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So when you reached the coast in Oregon, was it a sigh of relief, or did you go, we're finally done? Now what do we got to do? Got to turn back?
That's
or
a very good question.
Darn, we got to go back the other way.
That's a very good question, because it was a sigh of relief in the sense that you've completed the trip and it was an accomplishment and you've accomplished it. But it was a bittersweet accomplishment because now you realize
reality kicks in.
I gotta go back to life now, and I don't want to do that.
No.
Yeah,
Traveling is good.
yeah. So the trail ended. It spit you right out on the beach, and you could not go any farther west without a boat.
And that is also the furthest west.
Furthest west
in the lower 48.
Yep.
Okay.
Port Orford, Oregon.
Yeah.
And you had purchased all the paper maps.
I did purchase all the paper maps.
Were those downloadable, or were those they mail them to you? What does Sam do?
So he has a website. I believe it's transamericatrail.com.
I think it is, but you could look it up at Transamerica Trail. Just type it in, and then something will come up.
Yep. And he offers paper maps for the entire trail.
Yep.
He also offers downloadable GPX tracks.
Yep, for your GPS.
Mm-hmm. So what I did is I got both of those things. I thought I would be relying on the paper maps.
Kind of built-in redundancy, just in case.
But what I also did is I wanted to test out an app that they had in the App Store, iOS and Android, called Gaia GPS.
How would you spell that?
GAIA.
Okay.
About $20, and I believe they just came out with a new one, Gaia GPS Pro or something like that. So I figured I'd give it a try.
Yeah.
Why not?
So then you purchased the program or the downloadables from Sam, and you were able to put it in your
into
app.
Into the app.
And what ended up happening? Did you even use the paper maps?
So it's interesting. I thought I was going to be solely using those paper maps because I didn't put much faith into an iOS app. Because at the end of the day, it's still a phone, and I didn't think it was gonna work very well. But I figured I'd give it a shot. And what actually, to my surprise, turned out I did not need to use a paper map once the entire trail.
Wow.
I had GPS signal everywhere. I didn't have service anywhere, but I had GPS signal everywhere, and the app worked beautifully. And I'm sure there's other apps out there that work just as good, but this was my experience, and this was...
That's what worked for you.
Yep. And you could do anything you want with it. You could make your own tracks on the fly, all sorts of stuff. And I loved it. It worked great for us.
Yeah.
And we didn't need the paper maps at all. We had them. Just didn't need them.
Souvenirs.
Yeah, exactly. We're thinking about doing some sort of big, not mural, but making something out of the
collage type thing.
Something like that with all the maps that we have.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Now, on your trip, did you have any experiences that you're like, man, I don't know if we're going to make it?
Yeah. Yes, we did.
I bet Amanda had some saying, "Oh."
Yeah. So, for the listeners, it was my wife and I, and we were the only vehicle out there. We didn't go with
no other couples or anything, no other vehicles to recover you or anything else. Nope. Just you.
Just us in an unreliable Land Rover.
Oh, it got you there. Got you back.
Yeah. Which it actually surprised all of us. It made it across the country there and back. But there were a few times when we thought we were in real trouble. And the one that stands out most in my mind, we were in Utah, Death Canyon, Utah. And they had these salt flats out there, and I said, "Oh, that must be fun. Let me play around in those salt flats."
Yeah.
And it was fun for a while, and then I hit a not so dry part of the salt flats.
It kind of sunk down.
Right down to the axles.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So we were stuck there for 24 hours.
Oh.
Nothing to winch off of.
Nothing for miles.
No trees,
around.
no nothing.
We were the tallest people, and then to add insult to injury, storm rolled in.
Oh boy.
So now there's lightning, there's thunder.
And you're the tallest thing out there.
We're the tallest thing out there, and I'm holding two metal spikes in the air trying to winch off something.
Oh. Did you sleep in the vehicle or in your tent?
So Amanda slept in the vehicle. She was not happy. Not a happy camper.
But you're still married.
We are still married. But both literally and figuratively, not a happy camper.
Oh boy.
I spent the night hammering in a high lift jack into the clay to try to create an anchor to winch off of, which did not work. I just broke my high lift jack.
Uh-huh.
So the next morning, we were left with a decision, and I say to her, you know, if no one's going to come by, we're in a really remote area, we have to be able to help ourselves. So by tomorrow morning, if no one has come by, what we're going to do is we're going to pack a bag, put some food, put some water, and we're going to have to hike to the nearest town. In this case, it was Baker, Nevada.
What was the temperature? Outside temperature wasn't
terrible.
Unbearable.
It was, during the day, it was maybe around the high 90s.
That's hot enough.
Hot enough. And then it dipped down.
It was a dry
quite
heat,
a bit.
though, wasn't it, out there?
Sorry?
Was it a dry heat instead of humid?
Yeah, very dry.
Yeah.
Very dry. And it wasn't too bad. And I was stationed out in El Paso, too, so, I mean, I had a little bit of desert experience.
But how far was that town from where you were?
So Baker, Nevada, which was the closest town, which it was 50 miles away.
On foot.
Yep.
Wow.
So you figure I used to do 20K in 3 hours. That is 12.2 miles.
It'd take you 9 hours or more.
So I figure a good day and a half with stops,
Yeah.
resting, which is not undoable.
No, you could do it. Just need to take you something to drink.
Yeah.
I'd have to say you were trained for that. But Amanda?
Not so much.
Not so much trained for that.
But, I mean, if there's no one, what else, at that time, what else were we going to do? Yeah. So my idea was just walk into town, hopefully.
And you didn't, here's another thing.
Yeah.
I've got ham radio background a little bit, and you didn't have much for communications out there.
With a CB.
CB doesn't reach out too far.
Not very far at all.
Trying to get you to convert over to ham radio.
Yeah, just got to get that license.
Oh, you can do it. I got faith. Another ham evangelist going there.
Yeah.
We'll send you a shirt when you get your license.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's all the more motivation.
Yeah. But, yeah. Get you a ham license there. You can reach out a little further.
Yeah, just a little bit.
That way you could communicate with somebody.
Yeah.
Anyway. But we'll get back to the story here, and you were thinking about hiking it.
Yep. So I said, if no one comes by tomorrow morning, we'll give it the entire day. And we have plenty of food and we have plenty of water, so we're not in any real.
You got a refrigerator in there with you?
Yeah, we had a fridge. We were carrying 14 gallons of potable water for 2 people.
Yep.
You had fuel.
We had fuel. We had food, and
just
we had
didn't
beer.
have nothing to winch off of.
Good.
Nothing to winch off of. That's it. So I said, if no one comes by tomorrow morning, we're gonna walk. We're gonna have to do that. We'll walk in the nearest town, rent a truck, drive it back, pull us out, return the truck, and then continue on our merry way. So we were stuck there for a while. A couple dual sport bikers came by. And we were like, oh my God, somebody's
here.
They obviously couldn't pull us out because
no
bikes.
winches on bikes there.
Yeah, we
Not
tried
enough
brainstorming, bearing a couple of things, trying to pull us out, all sorts of stuff, and we were stuck.
Up to your axles.
Up to the axles, and there was a suction thing going on too.
Gravity kicking in too.
No,
Yeah.
it just doesn't sound good.
No. So what the bikers, they were like, you know what? We're not doing much help here. Thanks for the beer, but we gotta
move on to the next.
So they're like, tell you what, we're gonna take down your coordinates. Once we hit Baker, we'll call in your coordinates and we'll get you some help. And I was like, great, thanks. I wasn't banking on it because that would have been unwise to bank on that. So I still had my walk into Baker idea. And then sure enough, a few hours later, sheriff comes by, and he was the stereotype of a...
Elaborate on that.
Yeah.
That way we know what the listeners want to know what you're talking about.
So if the listeners have ever seen the movie Super Troopers,
which I'm sure some of them have,
he was essentially Farva, and just had no wits about him. Shirt 3 sizes too small. Buttons are a projectile waiting to happen.
Shooting off of there.
And he comes out here. He's like, man, I've never actually been out here. You guys are way out there. Yeah, we are. He's like, well, we'll get you some help. I was like, well, you're out here in a four-wheel drive F-150. I think you could help.
Why couldn't he help it?
Well, the department really doesn't like us to use these trucks. All right.
For such activities of pulling.
Jeez, all right. He's like, but I'll try to help you out. Great. So we hook up a strap. First, we try to use the winch. The winch wasn't working too well. We were very stuck. It's a 9,500 pound winch.
Oh boy.
So we hook up a strap, a yank strap, and he tries to pull us out, and I just see two wheels spinning in the back.
Uh-oh.
I go, hey, you should probably engage four-wheel drive. He's like, you know what?
That might work a little better.
This is becoming a whole thing. I'm gonna call out people and they'll help out. So, and before he leaves, I should mention he did not come out with enough fuel to get back.
Oh.
So
you had to loan him some fuel.
I had to loan him some fuel to get back to town to call the people to come out to help us.
Oh boy.
So
some stuff you just can't make up.
Yeah, you can't. And additionally, I almost forgot about this too. He came out the first time, and here on the radio, there's a lost kid. And it was like, someone's talking about us, but apparently it was a different lost child.
A different lost child.
And I don't think anything of it. And I give him fuel, and he goes back, and he comes back out, and he's like, yeah, there's people on their way. They have a Humvee, I guess they use for recovery. I think it happens a lot out there.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just waiting around, and we're talking. He's like, hey, remember that lost child?
Yeah.
It turns out it was my kid. Yeah. My daughter was lost in a cornfield.
Oh, boy.
Goes, boy, my wife is going to be mad. I was like, oh, my God.
Some people's children.
Some people's kids.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
So to wrap up that story, Humvee comes out, pulls us out, and that's pretty much. But that was a whole ordeal. All in all, a little over 24 hours.
Oh, boy. Just stuck in the salt flats.
Stuck in the salt flats, but we didn't have to walk 50 miles. So.
That's a good thing.
Yep, that's glass half full.
For those that are keeping track.
Well, you had mentioned something last night, actually, and we don't even know the story yet.
Yeah, we haven't heard it
I
yet.
was saving that
You
one.
were saving it.
Yeah.
Something about floating in a lake.
Floating in a lake?
It starts a little bit like this. We were in Idaho, I believe.
On the Transamerica Trail?
On the Transamerica Trail.
Same trip then?
Same trip.
Uh-huh.
And we stop at this little ravine, man-made ravine. Seems like a vacation spot.
Yeah.
There's boats, there's jet skis, but again, it's man-made. And I don't really see any tide marks on it at
water
all.
levels and
yeah,
stuff.
it kind of seemed like it stayed the same. So we drive down. We're like, oh, this is a perfect place to camp. On the water.
Yeah.
There's people around, so obviously we could hang out here. Not a big deal. And we set up camp there, having a good time. Made some dinner, set up our tent. Had a beer or two, and all right, we're gonna go to bed, get ready for the next day. I wake up that next morning, and in a little backstory, we're in a ground tent with an air mattress.
Blow up air mattress in a ground
mattress. Yep. And we kept our phones in the tent.
Yeah.
And I was using my phone for navigation at that point.
Uh-huh.
And we wake up, and I hear a little bit of sloshing around. I was like, that's odd.
Huh.
And I open the zipper, and we are in the lake.
Oh, my
Floating.
gosh.
Floating.
In the lake.
On the air mattress, and I didn't stake down the tent because I figure, we're in the tent.
Yeah. You want to hold it down.
Yeah. So we're floating on an air mattress in the tent. On the
Got
lake.
a waterbed.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And the first thing I say is, Amanda, grab the phones.
Muy pronto. Chop, chop.
Yeah.
So how far out were you?
We were about 4 or 5 feet from the shore,
The edge
I
of it.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe about knee deep in water.
But still, floating in the lake, you wake
Floating in
up,
the
you
lake.
weren't there
So
when you went to bed, and you wake up and you're floating.
Yep. So my $30 Sports Authority going out of business tent seemed to keep out the water pretty well.
Its buoyancy is good.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing. Oh my goodness.
So yeah, that was, and we had to tow the tent back into to land. But that was something else.
Would you do it again?
Absolutely. If
Would
someone wanted to do it,
would you do it at the same speed, or would you take longer to do it?
I would like to take longer in certain areas. Yeah.
Speed up across Oklahoma.
Exactly.
Slow down in Colorado, Utah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We stopped in a couple of great towns because it crosses a few towns here and there.
Yeah.
Ouray, Colorado.
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
Loved.
Yes.
Great little town. And actually, funny story. So we stopped in Ouray and we loved it so much, just the atmosphere and everything. We said, you know what? We're gonna splurge and we're gonna get a hotel here.
Uh-oh.
First night that we did not sleep in a tent.
Yeah.
We're gonna get a hotel here. So we get a room booked. We go to the bar, hang out, see the town a little bit, talk to some people there, and we go back to the hotel room and wake up in the middle of the night, getting bit. Turns out that hotel room has bed bugs.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Huh.
So the only night I stayed in a bed
Had bed bugs.
had bed bugs.
You were better off in the tent on
Yeah.
the water.
I was.
Oh man.
That's what I get for cheating, I guess.
Yeah. You should have just stayed in the tent the whole time.
But it was a great town, and the hotel staff more than accommodated for it. And,
Yeah, it's the little Switzerland of Colorado.
Yep.
Yeah.
I stayed in. I don't know the name of the hotel. It was they had a bunch of flags outside.
Yeah. We drove through there last year, coming back from the Overland West.
It's a great town.
It is.
Love it.
Beautiful drive too.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. So that was a fun little story. Just one night, let's splurge. Let's
splurge and stay in a
relax,
hotel.
stretch out on a bed, and nope, bed bugs.
No. Oh goodness.
But no, but they comped the room for us, and they took care of it. They washed our clothes and
that's
high
accommodating
heat and
right
stuff.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
that's embarrassing for them.
Yeah,
I mean, you just don't know what kind of guests come in and how
you
things
never know what you're going to get
And
anywhere.
And
at
we
any time.
overlanders may look a little rough around the edges, but we're not.
Mm-hmm. And for anyone that doesn't know, bed bugs has nothing to do with cleanliness of the hotel.
No, it
It's just one
doesn't.
of those things.
It does.
But yeah, that was an adventure.
Now, I guess the $1 million question: would Amanda do it again?
So that was, like you said earlier, her first intro into
camping
overlanding,
or whatever.
camping,
She'd never done any of it,
and she absolutely loved it.
Good.
She's always talking about
when you go next time.
Yeah, she's not into because we drove through Moab and I did the whole
technical
whole deal,
stuff
and she's not too keen on that. But the whole adventure part of it, absolutely
staying
loves.
on flat land through Oklahoma, Kansas. Yeah, she likes it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, she's a photographer, so she can get all those good shots of you.
Yeah.
Doing all the technical stuff.
Yeah, she can just get out. No.
Yeah. Hey, well, since you're out there,
Yeah.
why don't you take
while
my
you're
picture?
out there, why don't you hold that? No.
Yeah.
Get her stocked with all the camera gear and put her to work, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Make a job out of it. Get paid for this.
Yeah, and people do it. I'm sure.
I know.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a 2-month trip. We had a blast. Really glad we did it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have picked a better time in both of our lives to do it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So, hearing all of these adventure stories, Robert.
Yes.
Does that make you want to do it more or less?
Always more. Always more. Never less. Never less. Always want to travel. Always want to camp. Always want to
be self-sufficient.
Be self-sufficient, off the beaten path. Usually away from other people, but twice a year there's a pilgrimage to either Asheville, North Carolina, or around Flagstaff, Arizona, for such like-minded people to come together, celebrate, travel, whether it be motorcycle or, adventure, four-wheel drive, $100,000 rigs, Unimogs, to, dirt cheap, what I found on Craigslist, motorcycle, or, bicycle even. But always want to travel. There's always something unseen somewhere that you want to see.
Exactly.
It's like I say, may your destination never end, just keep on going until you find something.
Or you hit water.
Or you hit water and got to turn around and go the other way. Or head south.
Yeah.
Do you think the Jeep could make it?
Yeah. We got enough parts stores in between here and there.
Well, we've seen all of them.
We've seen a bunch of parts stores on the way here.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned parts stores.
Oh, yeah.
So I live in New Jersey, and we left from New Jersey. So we took freeways down to North Carolina to hit the start of the trail. And we didn't know what to expect, or even if the Land Rover was going to make it, because, again, I'm not a mechanic, but I did all the work myself.
Hope and faith.
Hope and faith. So we're somewhere around Virginia, and my power steering pump just explodes all over the freeway. And I wouldn't normally care because I don't really need power steering, but that pulley system is part of a larger pulley system that drives water pump.
Uses one belt.
Yep.
Serpentine belt. Once that goes,
yep.
Alternator doesn't work.
Alternator doesn't work.
Water pump ain't a pumping.
Yep. So I had to get that replaced.
Yeah.
And we haven't even hit the trail yet.
You hadn't even got to the trailhead yet.
No. So I'm in a parking lot of AutoZone that happened to have a 2002 Land Rover Discovery power steering pump.
Jackpot.
And installed it right there.
Yeah.
Parking lot repair.
Yeah.
It's like an alternator on my Jeep. I've done it twice, and
both in the parking lot.
In the parking lot of a parts store, both times, 5 years apart.
That's how it goes. Yeah. But what happened here is I install a pump, and I'm putting in new fluid.
Yeah.
And I was using this Lucas power steering fluid.
Uh-huh.
And it has a blue and red label or something like that. And I needed more. So I go, hey, Amanda, can you run in and grab another bottle?
Yeah.
And so, here, you take this bottle, just show it to the guys.
Need more of this.
Yeah. So she comes back out, and I grab it, and without looking at it, I put it into the reservoir.
Uh-huh.
And it turns out that was not power steering fluid.
Oh, no.
That was fuel injector cleaner.
Uh-huh.
Oh, no.
And, yep.
Same
for
stuff
for
right
the listeners,
there.
I'm looking at upper cylinder lubricant.
Yeah,
right now.
That's what I carry in the back of the Jeep.
Yeah,
that is not power steering.
Not
fluid.
power steering fluid, and I don't notice this until I look at the bottle about halfway through dumping it into my power steering reservoir.
You had a oh crap moment,
and I was like, oh no.
What did you do? I mean, what happens to a vehicle if you would start it?
Well, you probably wouldn't notice anything for a little bit. And then all the seals would go bad, and you would just start puking out power steering fluid from all the seals in the power steering pump.
Oh, no.
Luckily, I caught it before I really started the vehicle. Yep. I did cycle it through the pump a little bit, but I went back into the store and was like, hey, you guys sold my wife fuel injector cleaner, and now it's lubricant in my car.
Power steering part.
Yeah. And he's like, oh my, and they were very accommodating. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. So we went out there. They brought a couple of bottles out for free because we flushed it right there, and they replaced it, and we were good to go.
Yeah.
Well, I am very well aware of putting the wrong fluid in the vehicle. I used to have a
she has
78
before.
diesel Rabbit. And granted, I was 19, and I pull in. I knew that the vehicle took diesel. I was not a stupid young
I think
lady.
I see where this is going.
But I go into, it was like a BP, and they're green.
Yep.
And diesel
green
equals green.
Yeah.
I mean, and I knew that that's what had to happen. And so I pull on the side, not the front where all the gas was. I pulled on the side, and it's supposed to be the diesel because it's special. It's set aside.
Yeah.
It's where the trucks can pull over there and get the, the diesel and more room.
Yeah. And this is back like in 1990, so this is a long time ago, and the pumps looked different back then. But on the top, green, thinking it's diesel. One side was diesel, the other side was unleaded. I picked up the unleaded side.
Oh no!
I filled it up, and then I said, "Oh crap!" And I went in, and this is before
cell phones and stuff.
Before I could afford a cell phone way back then, and I was in college, and I went in and said, "Oh my gosh, this is what I did." I need to just move my car. So I just popped it, popped the clutch or whatever. It was a 5-speed, and I just rolled it down, and I didn't start it or anything. Called my dad. Well, I was in college at the time, so I walked to campus, I don't know, about 10, 15 blocks, whatever. Called my dad, and I said, "Dad, this is what happened." So he came from about an hour away, and he siphoned it out. I didn't get yelled at or anything because he looked at the pump and he's like, "I can see
where made a mistake.
See where the problem
Especially,
was."
BP.
Everything's green.
Everything's green.
Yeah.
So I understand, and I'm so glad. And he was very complimentary and saying, "I am so glad you didn't start it."
Yeah.
I'm so glad you didn't start it.
Okay, being from Jersey, and I know I haven't been there long enough. We drove through it, but we didn't stop. We spent a night in the RV at a RV park there, and then woke up and kept on driving. But I've heard you cannot pump your own gas in Jersey.
You cannot. It's against state law to pump your own gas.
Really?
Yes.
Are we not
Oregon,
qualified?
I heard was the other one.
Oregon's another one.
Are those the only two that you know of, or is there more?
I'm 90% sure that the only two states is New Jersey and Oregon that you are not allowed to pump your own gas.
Is it because they're trying to create jobs?
I have no idea why. I thought it was like a liability thing, but I honestly don't know. And it created a problem in Oregon because one of the things that went wrong in my Land Rover was my gas cap broke. And you don't think about gas caps breaking very often, but on a Land Rover, everything breaks.
Well,
and
I've lost a gas cap, ran over it, and
Yeah.
then, oh crap, I got to find a new one.
Well, what happened here is when you put on a gas cap and you tighten it, and it tightens till it's done tightening, and then it clicks.
Yep.
Well, if you take it apart, it's really just plastic little gears almost that override when it's tight enough. Well, those stripped out, so I couldn't tighten it.
Free spinning in there?
Yep, I couldn't tighten it, and I couldn't take it off.
Oh.
So...
Problem.
Yeah, problem, especially when you don't have any gas.
I have broken a key off in the locking gas cap with no gas in the vehicle and couldn't get it off and had to drill it out.
Oh, okay.
So same boat, different scenario.
Well, what happened when I got to Oregon is I took off the outer shell, which is what you would usually use your hands on to tighten it. I cut all that off, and I just used a pair of channel locks to unscrew it and tighten it, which isn't a problem when you're pumping your own gas because it's not an embarrassment. You're just sort of doing it.
You know what you're doing.
Yeah, no one looks at you, whatever. Well, when you have to hand a set of channel locks out the window so the attendant can open the gas cap, it gets a little awkward.
Yeah, you're going to need these to open the gas cap.
So they don't let you get out of the car there, do they?
You could get out of the car, but you don't operate anything.
You can't open the gas cap for them.
So, I've never done it, and when you're paying...
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Had some people walking by there. But when you're at a gas pump, say, and you want to pay.
Mm-hmm.
You pay. Is it always with cash? Is it always with credit? Can you do both? Do they have to run it, or can you go up to the pump? Can you manually put it in and run it?
So you don't do anything. Essentially, unless you want to get out of the car just to stretch your legs, you just stay in the car, essentially.
You hand them the card, they run it?
You hand them the cash, you tell them what grade you want and how much you want, and they do it for you.
Wow. Say fill her up?
Yep.
They can do that as long as you hand them a card.
Exactly.
All right.
Man, being from the Midwest, we just don't know such things.
Being from the Midwest, I get asked that. How much you want? Got to prepay with cash? I don't know. Here's $100. I'll be back for my change.
Oh.
It's a Jeep. It only holds 19 gallons.
Well, I have to say, James, that I'm kind of worried here because this weekend you've gotten Robert's mind going, and I don't know what kind of adventures he's going to be putting me through.
Where's it going to go?
So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, you're welcome in advance.
Yeah. Good.
But we appreciate you spending time with us, and we enjoyed the interview, and we look forward to staying connected and seeing your adventures.
Absolutely.
Do you have a website or anything?
Not an Overland website. I'm a computer animator by trade, and I have a digital design and animation website.
Yeah.
But nothing that really pertains to adventure stuff.
Okay.
Well, what's your animation website?
It is jamescg.net.
Nice.
Okay.
And currently under construction. It's mostly there. I got to add some bio stuff, but
Good deal.
Yeah.
As long as you get it out there.
Yeah, you gotta be out there.
If it's not out there, people will never see it.
Exactly.
Well, thanks again, and we hope that our paths cross again.
Yeah.
Sure
if you're ever out in Missouri, you'll have our contact information for sure.
I sure will.
Stop by.
Yeah.
Wrap it up, Gayla.
All right. Thanks for tuning in to the Been There Doing That podcast. If you have any questions, please send us an email at podcast@beentheredoingthat.com. Subscribe to our channel here. And, I don't know, if you
like us on Facebook.
Yeah, if you are on Facebook.
Shoot, like us on Instagram.
Shoot.
Been
That's
there
great.
doing that. Been there doing that.
All right, I think we've given them enough to do. So
We'll
until
catch y'all
next
later.
time.
All right.